Before we get to today's episode, let me ask you, are you stuck on whether your story idea is book-worthy? Are you struggling to weave your scenes into one cohesive narrative? Or are you a serial starter who never quite makes it to the end? My free guide, Nail Your Story Idea, solves all three problems. You'll uncover your story's core in just 3 steps, create a rock-solid one-sentence premise, and get the confidence boost you need to finish what you start. Get yours free at nancypanuccio.com/idea. Nancy with an I, Panuccio with 2 C's, nancypanuccio.com/idea. All right, let's get to today's episode. You want a hint at what's missing. Suggest a gap between the life they have and the life they want. Maybe your character is pretending everything's fine, or he knows everything isn't fine, but this character doesn't yet have any idea how to make things better. Writer Unleashed is for you, a writer who has the story you want to bring onto the page and into the hearts and minds of readers. I'm Nancy Panuccio, writer, editor, and book coach. Each week, we'll explore techniques, mindsets, and inspiration for writing stories readers can't put down. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now, let's begin. Today we're talking about something every story depends on: how you introduce your protagonist. That first impression matters. If it falls flat or doesn't provoke curiosity, your reader might not even make it to chapter 2. They might not even finish chapter 1. Often writers feel the need to write a lot of random scenes trying to introduce their character, or they'll dump pages of backstory right in the middle of the first chapter, or list details about their appearance. The real goal of introducing your protagonist is simple. Give your reader a reason to care, and just enough to make them want to know more. So, in this episode, we'll talk about the most common mistakes writers make when introducing their protagonist, and I'll give you 3 simple strategies to make your protagonist's first appearance unforgettable. The kind of introduction that makes readers sit up, lean in, and keep reading. First, why does the introduction to your protagonist matter so much? Well, your protagonist is the anchor of your story. They're the lens your reader experiences the world of the story through. Even if externally the reader is nothing like your protagonist, there's got to be some human element they can relate to. And just like meeting someone new at a party, those first 5 minutes or even seconds matter. Is this person someone you want to keep talking to, or someone you politely back away from? We've all been in that situation. Instinctively, we know when someone bores us, or they're not genuine, or there's something unlikable or untrustworthy, or they're just boring. Other people are magnetic. We're drawn to them instinctively. There's a sense of mystery, and we want to know more. We're just drawn to them. Your reader is deciding the same thing. So a strong introduction sets the tone, builds trust, and gives your reader a sense of what's at stake. So let's start with the missteps I see most often. Number 1, front-loading irrelevant details. Some writers feel the need to open with everything they know about their character, their childhood trauma, their age, or a long description of their appearance. Sometimes it's the character getting dressed, looking in the mirror, cataloging their own features. But readers don't bond with eye color or hair color or a tragic backstory right out of the gate. They bond with what the character does and wants at this moment. So save the biographical data for later and give us something that matters now. Okay, mistake number 2 is leading with ordinary routines. Sometimes writers show their characters' ordinary life before the real conflict sets in. This is a way to show what life was like before turmoil set in. But ordinary doesn't mean everything's hunky-dory. We don't need to see your character doing the mundane daily things they'd normally do. Wake up to an alarm, put the coffee on, go wherever they're going. Readers want to meet them where the story begins, with something that matters in the middle of something that's already off balance. So skip the mundane stuff. No one's interested in that. Okay, mistake number 3 is overloading with quirk. It's tempting to make your protagonist instantly memorable by giving them oddball traits. Maybe they collect antique dolls by the hundreds, or they only eat green Skittles, or name every household plant after an X. Sure, it's quirky, but unless it connects to the heart of the story, it's just window dressing. Quirks on their own don't create depth. What hooks readers isn't that your character wears mismatched socks or always corrects people's grammar in conversation or has to sit in the same window seat every morning on the train. It's how they handle conflict. It's what they long for and what's at stake if they fail. If a quirk ties into the story's central tension, great. Otherwise, resist the temptation to pile on eccentricities in hopes of making your character stand out. Readers will remember who they are, not what candy they eat or what they name their plants. Okay, mistake number 4 is the character is stuck in their own head. If your opening pages are nothing but thought and reflection, readers have nothing concrete to hold on to. Even in first person, your character needs to be situated in a specific place, doing something in the world. When thought is anchored in space and action, it creates momentum. When it isn't, the story feels unmoored and stalls before it even begins. Okay, so how should you introduce your protagonist? Here are 3 strategies. Number 1, ground your character in action. You never want to be solely in a character's head, especially in your opening introduction, even if you're writing in first person. Put your character in motion, in time and space, doing something that reveals who they are, what they're preoccupied with, something that sets up the main conflict to come. For example, at the beginning of the Hunger Games, Katniss sneaks out to hunt, even though it's illegal to do so. That one action shows her resourcefulness, her care for her family's survival, and her rebellion. In The Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield opens up by telling us he's just been kicked out of school, then wanders the streets of New York. His wandering isn't just physical, it reveals his aimlessness, his alienation, and his resistance to authority. In The Girl on the Train, Rachel is literally on a train watching the world through a window. Her action of drinking on her commute and obsessively observing a particular couple she sees from the train sets up her unreliability, her longing, and the central mystery of the novel. Okay, tip number 2. Give your character a here and now want. Your main character comes into the story already wanting something. Even if they don't know their big story goal yet, give us a glimpse of their immediate desire. Just as we enter each day or room with some desire or goal, your character also comes into the story wanting something. This desire will pave the way for the main story goal later on. For example, in David Nichols' novel, You Were Here, the co-protagonist, Marnie, announces right up front that she's lonely. We also learn that she's divorced. She works from home. So she's truly isolated and out of practice at being social. She proclaims her desire to go outside at the end of chapter 1. Now, she doesn't do this right away. There's still a lot of resistance she needs to overcome, but she claims what she comes into the story wanting. She's starved for social interaction. So your character should come into the story wanting something. The want fuels the story, and it hooks us into following them. We can all relate to wanting to get out more and socialize, for example. We can also relate to how much harder that becomes the more we stay in our bubble of comfort. So Marnie is relatable right away. Now, on the other side of town, there's the co-protagonist, Michael. He's also divorced, but he comes into the story wanting to be alone. He's a teacher by day and is given to taking long, solitary walks by himself. He wants solitude. Marnie wants to escape solitude. Now, at some point, these two characters' lives will intersect during a walking tour that their mutual friend has invited them on, along with other people, but neither come into the story wanting romance. That comes later. But their introductions reveal to us what internal obstacles they will both individually need to overcome in order to be together. So you want a hint at what's missing. Suggest a gap between the life they have and the life they want. Maybe your character is pretending everything's fine, or he knows everything isn't fine, but this character doesn't yet have any idea how to make things better. The character isn't ready to make a move yet. Something will have to happen to disrupt this character's status quo, but that missing piece creates intrigue and forward momentum. And we relate to these characters more because of it. Okay, last one, tip number 3. Let us meet them when something's off balance. For example, in Anna Ray's novel, The House in the Pines, we meet Maya in a state of unease, hinting at trauma and secrecy, which makes us want to know more. We meet her on day 3 of insomnia, and we quickly learn why she can't sleep. She's in active withdrawal from anti-anxiety pills. And to raise the stakes even more, the novel opens with a video that has gone viral that she hasn't seen because she's avoiding screens in her attempt to get some sleep. Now, we don't yet know the contents of the video, just that it exists. And so we have questions. We don't get the whole story. But more to the point, we meet Maya in a state of instability. We don't know what's causing her anxiety yet. That's the work of the chapters to come, but it's a great introduction because it sets up what she will have to overcome, her anxiety, as the rest of the story unfolds. It's not just a neurosis to tack on, it's integrated to her history, and it's what she must overcome to reach the main story goal. So we learn in the following scenes and chapters why she's suffering from anxiety, why she's hooked on Klonopin just to get through the day. Now, it doesn't have to be that dramatic. In Julia Whelan's novel, My Oxford Year, we meet the protagonist, Ella, at the Heathrow Airport customs line in the UK. She gets a call from the White House Chief of Staff offering her a great job. The problem is she's just won a Rhodes Scholarship at Oxford to study poetry for a year. So there's already some disruption when we meet her. They want her to come to Washington, but she convinces them she'll work remotely at her job as a political consultant. So there's already conflict. It's not the main story conflict, but it sets up the romance that follows because she's planning to return to the States at the end of her year at Oxford. She's excited about continuing her political career, and she must make a choice by the end to stay with her lover, who, by the way, is dying of blood cancer, or go back to this great job as a political consultant. Okay, so let's pull this all together. Number one, you want to ground your protagonist in action. Don't leave them sitting in their head or buried in backstory. Let us see the character doing something that reveals who they are and sets up the bigger conflict to come. Second, give them a here and now want. They don't have to know their ultimate story goal yet, but they should come into the story already wanting something. That immediate desire makes them human, relatable, and keeps the reader curious. And third, introduce them when something's already off balance. Don't wait until chapter 3 for the disruption to hit. And yes, there will be a disruption to upset their status quo, but their status quo doesn't mean it's stable. Let us meet your protagonist in a moment of unease, instability, or disruption so the reader senses change is underway. If you focus on these 3 things in your opening pages, you'll give your reader a protagonist they can connect with, care for, root for, and keep following all the way to the end. The main thing you want to accomplish when you introduce us to your protagonist is to make us care. So when you introduce your protagonist, remember, it's not about data, it's about impact. Readers don't need a dossier. They do not need backstory. They need to meet a human being that taps into something universal. So show your protagonist in motion. Let us glimpse what they want when we first meet them. And most of all, give us a reason to follow them through the next 200 or 300 pages. Do that, and you won't just avoid the common pitfalls. You'll create a protagonist readers can't walk away from. So there you have it. I hope you found this episode useful. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Till then, keep writing, and I'll talk to you soon.